Hello YouTube, this is Steven from Team GOAT. Finally got World Championship Qualifier map. I'm very happy. Sam's, yay, victory Sam's. I'm wearing my Sam shirt too, but I'll show that later. Yeah, and the new. Okay, wait, you probably can't see keys on, never mind.
Yeah, you can move I like if.
There you go. Let's put that. So this is going to be another discussion on decks, why they're good, why they're not, what's good, what's bad. And I figure that I've been playing Sam's long enough that we can definitely go into length about, the strategies and whatnot that they use. Six Samurai are, for the most part, good, but they rely on teamwork. They rely on having other Sams on the field to gain power boost, to gain effects, and to basically just kill each other off, it's just to save himself. I don't know if you can see it, but I got Super Kagemushas. I am happy. Super Kagemushas. There's no light here, but yeah, Super Kagemushas. The archetype has its own tuners. The tuner has actually a good effect too. They have consistency in forms of smoke signals and Rhoda. They have basically their Uber card, which is Gateway, which makes the deck a lot harder to deal with. It makes it more consistent, more powerful. It's basically a lot easier to win with Gateway. It could be called the win condition, which is pretty, good.
It can be called bannable.
Yeah, that too. It also has its own draw engine in the form of Six Samurai United. Send it to your graveyard, draw 2 cards. Basically, if you play this, go Kageki Kagemusha, that's 2 counters, send it, draw 2. Asceticism into on Kageki, special summon Inishi, special summon Kizan, bam, you have that field right there. So, draw power is good. Protection in the form of Musikanis, protects against destruction. And its own recurrence in the form of double-edged, which is a +1 from the start, and then if you synchro, then it's just it's basically a free synchro or whatnot. More why it's good, it's very good against the decks that rely on spells and traps. Like, the deck does very well against Chain Burn, against Exodia. It basically laughs at like Final Countdown. It's very easy to beat those kinds of decks. What it has a hard time dealing with is basically monsters over 2600. Effect negation, basically big monsters, decks that don't rely on spells and traps. That's basically how you beat them, is just beat over them pretty much, take their field out, and then, yeah, that's basically how it goes from there. And, the rest is just, spells and traps and whatnot, support. I'll have a link to the actual description of the deck in the description somewhere. Just so you can, know the full deck and whatnot, if you're actually still interested. Yeah, in terms of it's why it's bad, it's because, in order for the deck to work well, you're basically forced to run, you have to run these as well as, in terms of just playing for the Samurais, you have to run the Uniteds, you have to run the Gateway, you have to run the Asceticisms, and that takes out maybe about, just from the archetype itself, that's 3, 6, 9, that's already over 10% of your total deck that you need just as a staple, really. That's not counting like the dojos if you run them. Basically, you need, it's a requirement to run archetype-specific cards. Now, while that's good in that it promotes consistency and stuff, in terms of actual protection, not so much. Because United won't really protect you, from an opponent's attack. I mean, he could just say as a bluff, but still. And, yeah. And you basically need each other on the field. Like, Inishi, with just Kizan, gives like a dark hold or whatever. It's in the form of the field protection. You need that field. Once your field is destroyed, Sam's really suck so much booty top decking. They really can't top deck. They need resources to just poop out, and then they're on the field. They are a fast deck, I'll tell you that much. And you know, now it's really become more of a trap heavy deck. You know, you have good protection, the forms of Mizukani and all that good stuff. I mean, you could run Veilers as well to protect against monster effects that the deck is weak against. Great exceeding potential. You know, you can succeed into like Excalibur or what have you. Overall, it's a very good deck to use against like Exodia or those kind of like solitaire decks. Those, and ironically, like these decks like worst matchup like Chaos Dragons. No offense, Bryson, can't really handle like Exodia or like Final Countdown. Those kinds of decks that don't rely on having a field at all or attacking per se.
Totally gonna beat the shit out of Exodia with with Chaos Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. Like Final Countdown nearly beats like all this deck's like worst matchups. Like Mermails, how can they win against like Exodia or like Final Countdown? That's a good question, right? In terms of that, it's just a matter of playing your cards right. Hopefully, you get a good hand. For Sam's, it's just how gay do you draw out your hand? Or yeah. Yeah, did you draw gay enough to win? Pretty much. This deck has access to good side deck cards, such as Rivalry of the Warlords, since they're all warrior-type monsters. What else? You could also side deck Grave of the Super Agent Organism, which is actually really good. Back then when, there were no Exceeds, it was a great card that you can use with Sams. Basically helps exactly what their problem was. In terms of more weaknesses, yeah, they're just a little low on attack in terms of beating over. I mean, yeah, 1800 turns into a 2100, 17 turns into a 22. They're great base, attacks and whatnot. But in terms of like boss monsters, like over 2600, you're gonna have problems. So yeah, I think I've covered it well over just enough. So if you have any more suggestions as to like what decks we should use to should I profile my wind-up deck, because it's basically very cookie cutter. It's basically the very same as lots of other decks that are being used. I could put on my Madolches too, and I'll explain why they're good, why they're not good, so on and so forth. So thank you for watching this. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.